Now to developments in the investigation of Russian meddling in the U.S. election and whether anyone in the president's campaign was involved. For the first time, the special counsel has revealed a connection between the campaign and Russian intelligence. Here's our justice reporter, Paula Reid.
There was no collusion, and we're very confident in that and look forward to this process wrapping up.
The White House deflected more questions about the special counsel investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election today after prosecutors revealed top Trump campaign official Richard Gates had repeatedly spoken with a person he knew was a former Russian intelligence officer. Gates and the former intelligence official exchanged phone calls as late as September and October 2016. And prosecutors say the officer still had active connections in Russia's spy network. Gates was the Trump campaign's liaison to the Republican National Committee at the time. The intelligence officer is referred to as Person A in court documents and is described as someone who worked with Paul Manafort and Richard Gates in their earlier lobbying efforts in Ukraine. Last month, Gates pled guilty to financial fraud and lying to investigators. Special counsel Robert Mueller's prosecutors will drop nearly 24 other charges against him in exchange for his cooperation. It is expected that he will be a key witness in the upcoming trials against Manafort.
There is no evidence that Mr. Manafort or the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government.
Manafort currently faces 23 felony counts. His first trial will begin in July for bank fraud. He's then expected to face a second trial in Washington this fall on charges related to his lobbying work on behalf of Ukraine. Peter Hardy is a former federal prosecutor.
History is against him. If I had to put a dollar on it, he will likely be convicted at trial, yes. And then he will face significant potential prison time.
But sources close to the case tell CBS News that Manafort expects to receive a pardon if he's convicted. The New York Times reported today that pardons were discussed by lawyers that previously represented Mr. Trump and Mr. Manafort. The president's former lawyer said no discussions took place, and the White House denies any pardons have been offered.
No pardons are under discussion or under consideration at the White House.
Court documents don't indicate whether Gates discussed the election with that former intelligence official, but that's exactly the kind of evidence that Gates can offer the special counsel. He can discuss who else spoke with that official, whether the election was discussed, and what the president possibly knew. Now, even with his cooperation, Gates still faces up to 10 years in prison. Jeff?
All right, Paula, thanks very much.